Hey guys, you're listening to part 2 of our conversation with actor, musician, director, writer Alex Wolff. Why are you not fucked up? Like you were so famous as a little kid. How are you so unbelievable? Like not just normal, but like great. Like I don't understand. It's like really rare, I feel.
Well, I think that my parents didn't value fame. My dad played for, sometimes like 10 people in a club. And my dad is a super successful jazz musician, but sometimes he would go from these big, it almost didn't matter. Like he'd play in these big clubs where he'd play jazz piano, and then he'd, play at the Knickerbocker in New York, which is just a tiny little club. And I think I saw that he gave his all both times. And like sometimes he'd get back from a Knickerbocker show, snap at his fingers like, oh, that was the shit, man. Yeah. We were tight. And then I'd see him after whatever playing like Hammerstein Ballroom or something and being like, oh, I just was off, I just can't. Am I playing? I was just scuffling. Yeah. And so I always realized like, feel like shit about the things that are bad and feel amazing about the things that are good and ignore all the rest of the noise. So if there's any reason that I'm not fucked up, which I probably am very emotionally fucked up, and I've been in therapy since I was like 10.
I mean, that's probably amazing.
Yeah. No,
I wish
everybody
I
should be in therapy
since I was 10.
So yeah, seriously.
No, but you just said feel bad about the things that are bad, feel good about the things that are
that's
good,
amazing.
And the rest is noise. That's like straight up the title of this podcast.
That is, yeah, that's the mantra.
Because that's what we always
like. How are you guys now? I mean, you're in a band where, you're a bunch of people doing the same thing where they're all singing. Like, how do you feel so at ease and so amazing? And Rozzi the same way, where you sing like, you're Aretha Franklin, or you sing like, to me, Rozzi is one of those singers where I'm going to wait for this helicopter to pass because I really want this compliment to be on.
Audio clear.
Audio clear. But you should keep this in the podcast because I want everyone to know we're outside.
Yeah.
But to me, Rozzi is a singer where you go, oh, that's a person who's coming from their stomach. There's no self-consciousness. It's completely soulful, whatever. And yet you've had a lot of times where people have tried to put you in a box and tried to make you sell it, whatever, and you just never really went down that route. Like, how did both of you stay true to yourselves? Because you're both musicians where I look at you and I go, wow, that's, I mean, you just sold the show that we won't speak about, but you just sold the show, and you've done acting, you've done everything. So how did you guys?
Well, we weren't kids, and it's not really comparable. I mean, I get what you're asking Scott, but I'm just saying like.
No, both of you.
I mean, that's really sweet, but you were like a really famous little kid. Like that's just like a different dynamic. That's just like a.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one of the things maybe is that I got bullied as a kid. Like I got so bullied for the show that.
Right.
For the show.
Yeah, I just got
like
bullied,
online or like school?
No, at school, because like the show would air on I think it was like a Thursday, and then I'd go to school on a Friday, and all the girls would be like, "Ew, why do you look like that? Why'd you wear those clothes? Why'd you wear a vest?" Like
I would think it would be the opposite.
I
think
that now, and I will shave all their heads.
And you'll bully their kids.
Sorry, sorry.
I'm sorry. I laughed so hard. I unplugged.
Yeah, I laughed so hard. I unplugged my headphones.
I would think it'd be the opposite. I think that everyone would be like, "Oh my God, there's the famous kid."
Yeah.
Well, they're hand in hand, and that's like part of my family taught me that both of those are bullshit.
Right.
You're not amazing, super special. You're also not a worthless piece of garbage. Like, and I felt constantly battling between those two things when you become famous as a kid. And I remember like going into school, and like. There would be a lot of people waiting outside the school for autographs and things like that outside of my school when I was like 9 or something and 10. And I remember being in school and being in class, and the teachers, the teachers were even weirder than the kids were. The teachers would just shame us. Yeah, they just, and I know, I had a lot of good times, and I'm not trying to be negative about them, but like, they really fucked me up in a lot of ways. Like I'd be in class and I'd feel ashamed that people would be outside, and I'd be embarrassed, and I didn't want people to be there. And kids would, talk about how lame it was that I was on a show, and I hate your music, but that I went to basketball camp, and they would all say, like, you talk like an actor. Why do you talk like you know what you're going to say before you say it? Like, come to the locker room. Like, this kid wants to tell you about how your music sucks, but your show's okay, and all this stuff.
Jesus.
And I just kind of had to learn to, and I feel like, I mean.
It's so funny that they don't have eyebrows now. Isn't that weird?
Because you
it's a coincidence.
I mean, it's funny because I'm not being like, woe is me, because it was also, I got special privileges in terms of being recognized and people being nice, but it was like, it was an interesting thing. Like I remember Yeah, it was just interesting. And then I like developed, I think it's part of my like acerbic kind of like wit a little bit developed through like, I remember a kid was like, your show is so stupid. And I was like, well, how's your show doing?
Oh my God, yes.
Whoa. I just remember doing that kind of like developing that thing. And I don't know.
So you're a confident kid. Because it's so interesting because in those formative years that like shapes you for your life and all your like any type of like mental things you have going on happen when you're a kid. And so to hear you got bullied so much and you turned out okay, it's like
yeah, it's nice actually.
That's nice.
You were bullied too, right?
I was bullied a handful of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give us the dirt.
Give us the dirt.
You told us the teacher in the locker store. That's not exactly.
Oh yeah,
I guess that is bullying.
I mean,
your bullying is way worse. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it wasn't like nonstop. It wasn't like my childhood was defined by bullying. It was just like a moment here in 6th grade with this one guy who was really mean to me all the time for some reason, and then this like moment at this like camp I went to. I feel like everyone has those moments, but I wasn't like traumatized by like Yeah, no, sorry.
I was remembering the other day that I went to musical theater camp and this girl told all my friends that I was possessed by the devil.
Yeah, she's dead now. I hired a hitman. Yeah.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. It's hard. I mean, it's really hard to figure out how to not be bullied. It's like it's a hard thing because you want to be interesting, you want to follow your passions, but you also just wish. I mean, I remember feeling like as a kid, like I wish I could just stuff these instincts down. I wish I could stuff my sense of humor down. I wish I could stuff my music down. I wish I could just sit there
like all
and
your
be
gifts.
Normal. Or like, now I sort of see them as gifts, but at
Did you ever consider quitting acting? Like, did it ever get...
I consider quitting acting every day. I'm not kidding.
Still.
Really?
I consider quitting every day. And
did you ever consider quitting music?
Every day. I mean, I just feel like I just let it pass. I just go, fuck, maybe I'll just go off and be a backpacker. I mean, Nat and I were joking, me and my brother, we were like, can you believe we're really not going to be in the NBA? Like, it's official now. We're 22.
It's official.
And he's 25.
There's no hope at this point.
We're not going to be in the NBA, unfortunately. And, like, I really, as a kid, I wanted to be a basketball player, and I want to be these things, and, just one of them worked out. But, yeah, I think about quitting constantly. I think that's the only way to really love it and really value it. I remember Martin Scorsese said something like, if you have an interest, if you have a hobby, and you want to direct, this is not the class for you. But if you feel so sick and cannot sleep without directing a movie, then this is the the class for you. And that's how I feel.
That's how it is with music. I feel like I tell people that when they're like, what should I do to get into music? I was like, make sure you fucking love it.
Yeah, make sure
it is
you
a dark road.
Yeah.
I'll take it even further. Make sure that it's water. Like this stuff is water for me. Without it, life is meaningless.
And make sure you're in it for the art. Sorry, keep going. I interrupted you. I'm drunk too.
Wait.
All right, you guys, it's time for my sweet angel of a boyfriend / our mixologist on the show, Mark Manio, to make a drink.
Time for a drink. Made by Scott's boyfriend. Time to get wasted.
For our drink moment, we already finished a bottle of champagne.
Oh, so we can't even make Aperol Spritzes.
Oh, no.
So for Alex, we chose an Aperol Spritz because he requested it. He sent us a rider ahead of time.
And yet we still
and the crack
failed.
cocaine is not here.
Yeah, the
No
cocaine
crack cocaine.
and the Aperol Spritzes are gone. Scott and I were talking, like, what's the actor community like? I know so many of your friends are actors.
That's a good question.
But are you all like, do you know everybody? Are you friends with everybody? Are you competitive? Is
there like 6 guys that all are in the running for the same roles as you?
I mean, I think that I have a really amazing group of friends where I really am excited for my friends. Like, and a lot of people say that, but me and my brother started doing this together on Naked Brothers Band, and so we're really happy for each other, and my friends are the same way, and we tape each other for stuff. We'll tape each other for the same thing, like swap out roles. And I think it's hard sometimes. You get jealous and you get upset, and some person gets something you want, but it's kind of been an unspoken rule in our friend group that you got to really just stand by each other, or you're just going to end up so lonely in this industry. It's a lonely thing. The acting industry is just lonely, so you got to make sure to really be your friends' champions, because there's lots of people hoping that you'll fail. So you got to find your knit group and die for them and kill for them and do everything for them.
And I love the way you and your brother are is amazing to me. I say that to you all the time, but I just think you guys have this like unbelievable relationship because it's like you've been working together your whole life. Everybody knows how hard it is to work with people. Yeah, like I've worked with friends and it gets it gets tough because it gets complicated.
Yeah.
You know, but this is like your family. And since you were kids, and then sometimes you go for the same roles and you're both so good, and you release albums where you like both write songs.
Yeah.
And I just think it's you guys love
he's
each
my
other
best
so
friend.
much. It's so sweet. I love it.
Yeah, and I'd like
amazing.
to shout out, it's like, it's Nat, it's me, it's a guy, David Levy, David Thompson, Austin Caldwell, Austin Abrams, Justice Smith. There's this great group. Lucas Hedges has been a great friend of mine, and Stefania Owen and Odessa Young, and a lot of great young people who have been nothing but kind. And I feel Thomas and Mackenzie. I've been really lucky to
You're really good friends with Florence too, right?
really good friends with Florence Pugh. Is such a great person,
nice.
and I think find the people who support you and are excited for you, and
Y'all can lift
hold
each other
on
up.
for dear life.
Yeah.
because it's just not the case with a lot of people.
Can we talk about Hereditary for a second?
talk
about
Because
Yes.
it was like
What?
one of my favorite movies that I saw last year. I don't know if it came out last year, but I
Amazing.
saw it last year.
Yeah.
Was it terrifying to film?
It's. I feel like sometimes it disappoints to say it wasn't terrifying, and it was in a lot of ways, but it was more upsetting. It was more one of these experiences
Interesting.
that I'll never forget. That was just really hard to get through, and really fun. I feel really lucky. It's just really upsetting to go through all these things. I think that's part of what makes it so terrifying and so deep as a movie, and why I really enjoy it as a movie objectively, is that I think that it's horrifying things happening around really real familial situations. I think the more I clicked in with the truth of where it was all coming from emotionally, the more I was able to kind of get afraid. But there was a time where there were like certain things happening that were kind of creepy. Like I remember we were doing that seance scene, that big scene where they're, it's going around and Tony Collette's reading all the stuff from the book. And like we were just doing it, and a glass shattered in my hand. It just shattered. There was no
Oh my God,
explanation
that's
for
so
it.
scary.
And there was little things like that that were horrifying, but more there were scenes where we just went home feeling sick to our stomach. And
Right.
that
there
was
was
just part of
this
the
whole
process.
moment.
Yes.
I just
and you just did a little
gestured because
gesture
I didn't
that
want to
know.
like spoil anything.
That
but
was one of the
that
more
shit like
horrifying
stuck with
things.
me for a moment.
Because there were things I was doing, like I had like a bottle of vinegar in my trailer, which sounds so like boosh, in my trailer.
Yeah,
But I had
we
like
didn't get vinegar. Sorry.
No, don't worry, I didn't like it. No, I would drink it to like feel sick, and sometimes that's the way of
Whoa.
like I would do these physical things, because sometimes I don't trust myself as an actor to just. Some people are amazing at just showing up and being like, oh
On.
yeah, just like on and doing it. For me, I need a lot of time and a lot of things. So sometimes I would get myself physically sick or physically there. And then
Wow,
the
that's
emotional
incredible.
things would kind of follow. It's kind of nice when you can kind of guide your body and then your emotional shit.
I've never heard of someone making themselves ill to like feel more in their character. That's really that's crazy.
Yeah, man. Well, that's what you
Art.
did for Bones.
That's what I did for Bones. I
Remember?
killed someone.
Can I ask you another question we ask almost everybody?
Please, can we keep doing this all day? I feel
I
like
would love
I'm
to.
just starting to get smart.
I know
I'm
it's
just
so
starting
much
to get
fun,
nice.
but we're honestly, I feel like we've hit a lot of the good stuff.
Yeah, we have.
But
No, we're keep going. We're going till the sun goes down.
no,
I'm
this
down.
is what I was going to ask you is, obviously you're, very. Everyone knows you're an amazing actor. Everyone knows you're an incredible musician, a songwriter, director, writer, blah. But what do you think is your greatest ability, like your greatest gift as a person? That makes.
Oh, that's nice.
And you can interpret it either way. Like either why are you so good at all those things, or just what is the thing that is your greatest gift?
I think one gift I have is when people feel really bad, I can help them feel better, because I can kind of understand why they're feeling bad, and I have a different perspective on it.
Good
I think
listening.
that's one, maybe, yeah, or like an ability to empathize with everybody. And I think I've made a habit of playing characters that are in really messed up situations. Like I've killed people in a lot of movies on accident, and I think I have a uniquely nuanced view of people. Like when I read a story about someone doing something bad, I don't know if you read something about someone hitting someone with their car or something, or trying to think of, okay, well, how does they feel? Trying to
Yeah.
examine all
Empathy.
angles. I think I see a lot of
Empathy.
things.
Yeah.
From bird's eye view. I'm sorry, that's a little bit of a gray
No,
answer,
no,
but
that's a great
I'd
answer.
say that one of my things that I feel good about
Empathy is a good trait to have.
Yeah.
It's better
Maybe
than being
just-
a sociopath, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
feel like to be an actor, you have to be an empath? Like, because you have to feel the character?
No, I think a lot of people only empathize with certain type of people and they pass on a lot of roles. I just think that my one ability, my angle is that I feel like a lot of roles where people would go, well, I don't want to even begin to empathize with this person. I don't even understand. Right. I feel like I can go there and say, well, I don't know. Why did they do that? That's like the most fun when I see something that scares the shit out of me.
Right. It's complicated.
You know, it's complicated. The things that are really complicated. It's
you see people three-dimensionally. You don't just judge them for the their action necessarily. You can kind of look beneath the surface and understand what got them there.
That's like a more graceful, better way of saying it. That's like better. But I think also
she's his girlfriend, by the way.
Every time he compliments me.
Flirting.
I was also going to ask, how often is acting fun? Like, because you're talking about all these roles you played, and you have played some motherfucking dark people. Like, you had to live in some dark heads for extended periods of time. Like, are you enjoying yourself?
Sometimes. I mean, I think it's like I told you this, I read that more people who dream are happier in their life and endure less anxiety because they can work through, and people who have nightmares sometimes are happier in life because they can work through these dark things subconsciously and actually go through it and can live through it in a subconscious way, where some people have to just bury it and don't have that. And I feel a little bit like that with acting. Like, I feel like I get to go there and I get to express these really nasty parts of myself and bring them to the surface. And maybe it's hard and costing, but in some ways it helps me be more stable and therapeutic. And I get to kind of appreciate, my friends all joke that I'm like manic Alex when I come back from doing something really dark, because I feel like I'm the most wanting to have fun. I'm like, let's go out. Let's have fun. Let's do this. I want to go play tic-tac-toe and jump and, and I feel like that's, sometimes it can have the reverse effect that you'd expect.
It makes me think of when they say, like, if you're like really upset or angry, like punch a pillow or scream in your closet or something, and then you feel instantly better afterwards. That's
when you're like feeling upset, I don't always believe in going to watch a comedy. Sometimes, that's why I think in quarantine it's like important to watch more maybe challenging, upsetting things. I think you can work through some of your angst, and it feels more cathartic than
100%.
just watching.
That's
I love to cry.
Same.
Like, I'll listen to sad music, watch a sad movie, and when I feel the tears coming, I'm like, oh yeah, here we
we're
go.
Getting it
It's
out.
like a sweet release.
It's like
I hope he died. I hope he died.
Yeah, if the dog doesn't die at the end, it's like, why did I watch it?
Exactly. Always.
I played this show, like one of the first shows that my record label came to see, and afterwards we had to have like a call because they were like, she's so like light and making all these jokes and is like being self-deprecating when she's talking, and then I like sit down the piano and like sang like some like really like sad dark song, and they're like, how they're like,
I wanna be bad.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like how do you this is confusing, and I get their point, but I was like, that's exactly what, like, I can be light and happy and make jokes and self-deprecating because I write these sad-ass songs and you put it somewhere.
Yeah, you're like, that's
also,
why I'm doing all that.
Rozzi has this magic ability in her lyrics. It's like similar to like Bob Dylan or someone where like
only your boyfriend can compare you to Bob Dylan.
No, I'm serious. I mean, it's real. This is
honest.
This is honest. I like her music better than her. No, but when she writes lyrics, they feel both poignant and also hilarious. And I think that's kind of, through darkness there's a lot of light, and I feel like in her music you can feel that. And those are my favorite artists, like Bob Dylan or like Nirvana or like someone like Ed Norton's movies or Robert De Niro's. There's a lot of comedy, like Robert De Niro's performance in fucking Mean Streets or Taxi Driver. Maybe not Taxi Driver as much, but Mean Streets, he's hilarious. There's like scenes where like he's lying about paying the money. He's like, no, listen, like, I've been so depressed, and you feel bad for him, and you're like, oh God, this is so, oh God, he's the worst, whatever. But you're laughing because you go, what a fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about Cat in the Moon.
Yeah.
So I've said this like 62 times, but Alex wrote, directed, starred in it. And when I say starred in it, like, it's all about him the whole time.
Were you nervous to start directing?
Well, I'd done a bunch of short films directing, and I had written a bunch, and I felt like, at the time, I kind of felt like, well, acting is impossible, and directing is hard, but acting is impossible. So
wait, can I ask you at what point in your career, like, what movies were out? Like, when you started filming Cat in the Moon?
Hereditary hadn't come out yet. So it was
Was
hard,
Jumanji
really hard to get
out?
people. Maybe Jumanji had come out. Maybe it had just come out.
Okay.
It was just coming out. I think it'd come
Yeah.
out maybe December.
Okay.
And I was making my movie in like January, February.
Okay.
So, I mean, I still had that like, gotta prove myself. And, I always have that. But, I was nervous. I was really nervous just to serve the story. But something about, I gained like 30-something pounds and, got all these tattoos and shaved my head, and I wrote this music with my dad, all the score and stuff, and I felt like, this was my opportunity to make this movie, and I remember on planes, if there was ever turbulence or something, I would think, well, no, I can't die before I make this movie. And it was a nice thing when, like, I remember when Picture Lock happened, of the movie where it was done, I was like going to get on a plane, and I remember thinking like, okay, I do feel like if I die, I did this thing, and no matter what happens, I made this thing.
Well, I loved it so much.
I loved it too.
Thank you.
I also love, it's weird when I watch you star in it. I almost, in a beautiful way, kind of forget that you wrote and directed it. Like it just becomes
That's
like
the dream.
Like it's like
Totally.
and the thing that sticks out to me when I think about it, I always remember Nick, the main guy's, who's you, eyes. The way you make his eyes. And it's funny because they're just so different from your eyes. It kind of freaks me out. It's like your face, but with different eyes, And it's like he has this, like this weight to them that's like so many levels of different traumas and emotions and everything. I know that's such like a person who doesn't act trying to explain acting.
No, that's exactly what I worked on.
But it just felt so real. I just loved how real he was,
Makes me so happy. It's funny you say that about not wanting to direct, because right before I woke up in a cold sweat at like 3 a.m. before we released it, and I said, should we just put a fake name in the writer-director?
Wow.
Because I want this to stand alone. And I'm really afraid of being branded as a writer-director star, because sometimes one of those elements is compromised when you do three things. And I worked really hard on all the individual, and I came up with all these names like Chad Bestman and all these different things. I almost did it, and then I just was like, no. It's kind of nice because when someone doesn't like the movie, I go, okay, well, I still did the movie I wanted to do.
Yeah,
and
that's all that matters.
It does feel like a little like they don't like me when they don't like the movie, but at the same time, it's like I can go to bed feeling like I did the movie I wanted to make. And
we talk about that on this podcast all the time, that like all you can control is what you make. So I always feel like if I write a song or I finish a song and somebody has a critique of it, I know immediately if I think that. Because if I hear it and I have to think about it, I'm like, maybe I should do that, and it makes me nervous. If it makes me nervous, I'm like, that is probably something that some deep down in me, I agree. But if I'm like, I don't care.
I love that feeling.
Then I know that I love, I'm proud of what I did.
Yeah, a lot of people were like, yo, this is a weird note, but what about like a plot? And I was like, nah. My favorite movies like Taxi Driver and like A Woman Under the Influence and like movies like that, they didn't have a plot. And I was like, I just want to do a movie about a character that, a lot of movies have a lot of great plots, but I don't know who the fuck the character is. Like, I don't understand them. And that's my biggest interest. And so, I don't know. But yeah, maybe I could have thrown a plot in there.
No.
No, I loved it. Exactly how it was.
Okay, so what are the biggest dreams? What are the main things you want to accomplish?
I just feel like I just haven't done... I just have so much more to do. I just haven't even scratched the surface of what I want to do in terms of the things that I... Like, to have more goal... Like, as an actor, I want to do so much better than I've done. I haven't even scratched the surface of what I feel I can give.
Are we allowed to tell them what you're about to go do now?
Yeah, I'm going to do... I can't tell the plot, but yeah, I'm going to be in M. Night Shyamalan's new movie, and that's going to be really fun.
So cool.
That's so crazy.
And I'm really excited about it, but I feel like...
What a sentence to be able to say out loud.
I'm so excited. But I just feel
it's so weird that they hired me to just be there for no reason.
Yeah, they hired Rozzi. Rozzi's my personal assistant.
I'm the boom.
Boom. You're like the guy in the office who we have the affair.
You can't say the rest. No, that's
no. I can't say the plot, but I feel like that's
Can you say
my
the
whole
ending?
thing. The twist. No, I think that would be the.
Can you say the
worst.
twist? Can you say the surprise ending?
Even your dog perked up when you heard Shyamalan.
Okay, can we ask the 3 questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, the 3 questions we ask everybody.
What does success mean to you?
I'm worried I'm like a lame, broken record, and then I keep saying the same thing. I guess success to me is just being honest with what you love and not with what people are going to dig.
And that's amazing advice, because we all care about what other people think about us so much. And so it's really hard sometimes to not adjust what you're making to make other people like it.
I
It's
agree.
it's a really hard thing to do.
So hard.
It's like a muscle you have to
I
grow to
have
like stick
learned
with what you want.
that
I'm
lesson the hard way so many times, and it's still hard. It's so hard.
Because it honestly feels like stuff can just fail. Like you can go with all the things that people advise you to do and still fail so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that feels so bad when you fail on something that like
You don't
didn't
even love.
And you're like, oh my God, I knew it was bad. But
That's
something
the
that you
worst.
love and you give it 100%, sometimes when it fails, you feel this weird like connection with all the people involved in it. You can call them and be like, wow, we got some bad reviews.
All right. Question 2 is, what would you tell yourself at your lowest?
I've told you a version of this, but I would probably tell myself to stop. I just say, shut up. Just
Yeah.
stop. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. It's going to get way worse than this. It's going to get way worse. Stop it. This is not helping anybody. Get up, go take a shower. Like, this is ridiculous.
All right. This is exciting because I have not let you tell me your gossip. Question 3 is, what gossip do you have? What tea can we spill?
I mean, I don't want to be boring, but I got demolishedly wasted with Marilyn Manson and Kesha.
Oh my God, Kesha is a reoccurring theme on this one.
Yeah, I got so drunk. And listen, I feel like I've talked about drinking in this podcast. Like, Rozzi can attest, I really don't drink a lot. I don't smoke a lot, which is why when I sometimes do,
It's game over.
Big
Game
Daddy's too
over.
drunk.
Yeah.
And Marilyn Manson was hanging. He's a friend of Nick's, and it was also the Ramones, the remaining members of the Ramones, and we went to this like weird dinner party that was after Nick Cage's premiere. To drop a lot of names, I'm gonna pick up the names I just dropped. But it was a weird group, and we were all wearing these weird clothes. And I'd never met Marilyn Manson, but I was a big fan, and I'd watched the movie like Bowling for Columbine. I thought he was like a huge, amazing voice for that whole movement of gun control, and he just started ordering more and more drinks for me. I don't even think he was drinking, and I really wanted to be cool. I was in front of like the Ramones.
Yeah,
I was
you
in
can't
front of all
say
these rock
no.
stars. I was in front
Yeah.
of like Kesha's so cool, like she can totally hold her liquor, like all these things, and then he had marijuana, and I hadn't really smoked that
no.
much, and he like lit up this weed that I didn't know was very strong, and I like took a hit of it. And when I mean, like, everything was so purple, I can't explain it. The entire
Yeah.
world turned purple. And Marilyn Manson's face, purple. I got in an Uber, the driver, purple. And I went to go see Rozzi, and Rozzi nursed me back to health. I went to see, we were
I'm an
kind of
angel.
just friends at that point, and I, like, went over, and Rozzi was hanging out with me, and she
No, we're
nursed me back to health.
acquaintances.
Yeah.
The
And it was almost right
Theme
after
of the
that we
gossip
started dating.
is Rozzi's a saint.
She literally
Rozzi
saved
is
my life,
safe.
and that
And
was.
she nursed
You were
you.
cute. You didn't seem that anything. You seemed just happy. It was great.
I was so fucked up, and
Yeah.
she took care of me. So that's my big gossip: is that I got
I love that story.
demolished with
With
Nick
Marilyn
Cage,
Manson.
Marilyn Manson, and Kesha.
What
and
a
the
thing to be able to
Ramones.
say. It's that type of drunk where you like go to the bathroom and you give your pep. You give
Yeah, you look
yourself
yourself
a
in the
pep
mirror
talk
and
in
you're
the
like,
mirror.
pull it
You're like,
together.
I'm not kidding.
I'm not that drunk. We're gonna
Literally,
do this.
I went into the mirror and I said, "Hey, the Uber's here, and you're gonna give him 5 stars."
Yeah.
No matter how he is, you're going to give him 5 stars because you are drunk. You're going to give him 5 stars. And that's what I did.
It's amazing.
I love
a
that so
polite
much.
drunk.
A
A
poli-
kind,
a
generous
kind, polite,
drunk.
crossfaded.
Yeah.
This was so much fun. I
This
didn't even
was
get to
so
talk
much
about
fun.
how you're like the hottest. Do they know?
Don't worry. I mean,
Oh yeah.
They know.
Google the name.
audience.
Google the name Bradley Pitt, and you will see how
And
I
you will
look.
Yeah.
see exactly
That's
what he
how I
looks
look.
like. This was so fun.
This was really fun.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Rossi, you were
Thank you
nervous
so
for
much.
this, but I feel like it went
I
perfectly.
feel so nervous because I don't know why. Because I'm like shy. It's always a surprise when the secret is that I'm shy, but I
Yeah.
am.
You're super shy.
Yeah.
Super shy.
But you were so
Yeah.
good and so
Yeah, you're amazing. You're so
Amazing.
eloquent and smart and intimidating.
Are you sure
Yeah.
I didn't talk too much?
No,
No,
you
you-
inspired us.
Yeah.
Okay, love you guys.
Love y'all so much.
Stay
Love you.
safe. Wear a
Keep watching.
mask.
Wear a mask.
Don't be dumb.
Listen.
Love you.
Mwah.